Hello and welcome. Uh-oh, am I welcoming? Yes, I am. Okay. Sorry, I had to look for the microphone there. Welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. So, yeah, it looks like everything is set up and we've got a lovely open window behind us, which is glaring like crazy on my monitor. So my angle is going to be a little bit strange today, but let's see if that works. But how else could you see that cold, noisy traffic behind me? And then you know what's making that noise if you can actually hear it on the microphone. You'll have some idea. Okay, there we go. And everything's all set up with Photoshop, so I think we're good to go. All right, so end of January. So this is the last stream for this January. So this is the first month that I've been back after that break that I took in starting in October. So I have to thank the patrons, the Patreon patrons, for that, because otherwise I couldn't be doing this. I couldn't get motivated. Yeah, it takes a heck of a lot just to turn that streaming on anyhow. I don't know how. I guess it's a different generation that can just sit and stream for 8 hours a day, that loves everything that comes out of their mouths. Yeah, as soon as I'm out of coffee, I'm out of words, pretty much. Just trying to do a simple egg shape. I'm thinking about eggs. But yeah, so it's finally very, very cold here, which I know it probably is for everybody else except the viewers in Australia, where they're having some kind of heat wave. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop drawing eggs pretty soon here. But something like that. Wow, I don't know why that stopped. So we'll try this a few more times. See if I can get them as imperfect as those gumballs from last week. Oof. All right, well, nothing huge going on. I'm still in the middle of the annual Sopranos rewatch, so I've just finished season 2, the death of Big Pussy, and yeah, it's great. There's a lot of really great stuff coming out because it's the 20th anniversary. A lot of great stuff. I think I like that one better. A lot of great stuff coming out, and interviews and a lot of information out in the book, the Sopranos Sessions. Came out, which is done by a couple of reporters from like the Newark paper. They were the guys that I think were like first on the set or got the most access early on before the show really blew up. So they've got a lot of interviews with especially like James Gandolfini and people that didn't do very many interviews. So they published a collection of those, and also, what is it, like 86 essays, one for each episode of every season. And they did it. The interesting thing that they did is it was done spoiler free, so you can read them up to, if you're watching it at the time, you can read it up to where you are. Nothing's going to get spoiled. Everything previously they'll be bringing that back up and talking about it, but that must have been a real challenge, and they did a good job of making that useful for everybody, so people that know the show or people that don't know the show can enjoy. But yeah, the more I read about that show, the more that I listen to interviews, the more inspiring it is, because I don't think, it kind of issued in that era, the prestige television era, or the kind of what they called that more recent golden age of television. But when you look at things that it inspired, nothing compares. I mean, just the level of writing and everything is nothing comes even close to what they were able to do. And I think it just, it had a lot to do with it being a single person's vision. The executive producer, so David Chase, got to do exactly what he wanted. So his creation stayed pretty well under his control without the usual kind of notes and influence of the network. And I think that's been much less successful with shows. I'm not sure, so specifically like Breaking Bad or Mad Men, which are both decent shows, but because they're not on HBO, they're a little tame. The kind of things that they're talking about, they depict in kind of a PG-13 way, which, is not ideal. And also, a great example of a show that was totally destroyed by its own network was Walking Dead. The few things that I've watched about how that was tampered with, and I guess it was a more expensive show because when you've got effects, when you've got digital effects or you've got makeup effects, heavy like prosthetics and things that you need to do for people, for extras, basically, they try to minimize that as episodes go on. And it's one of those shows where, I mean, with The Sopranos, you really never felt the budget of the show because it wasn't an expensive show, but you never felt, this has to be a quiet, boring walk-and-talk episode because they're waiting for some expensive climax, or they're waiting for the mid-season finale, or whatever, the mid-season climax. And but so many other shows that have any kind of effects requirements or anything, that just that's all you feel. And especially even Star Trek Discovery or any shows that need a effects budget, it's just brutal how much you can feel that affect the story or affect the show itself. And so that's weird. They're obviously going into these shows with less money than they need, and having to balance those sorts of things. The one thing I watched about Game of Thrones, when they were talking about how they filmed that one, the Battle of the Bastards is what they did. It was Jon Snow and the other vicious Ramsay Bolton, was it? And what they wanted to do and what they realized. And I still think because of Sopranos and because of how it had the feel of a movie, no commercial interruptions, and had the pacing of a movie, that people started getting confused, especially when they've got special effects budgets and things. They got confused about whether they were doing a movie or television, and so the scale of things that they wanted to do was just ridiculous, and really ruined the shows, because you feel the accountants there kind of getting in the way of how they're going to depict things. And really when you read, especially because it's based on, Game of Thrones is based on books, and when you read the books, you're like, there's no way a television budget could handle it. And these aren't really TV budgets. These are, millions of dollars per episode kind of budgets. So, yeah, I don't know. But it always seems like TV has that problem too, where it starts out, maybe they have, because they get renewed for every season, and then they have to set another budget, and actors' salaries get higher and higher, and as the show becomes more successful or relies on the kind of central cast, then the company making those shows is pretty much held at the mercy of what the actors are going to hold out for. And so an actor can really ruin a show. And I think some have tried. Whoops. I've ruined shows by holding out for more money, or shortening the run of a show because of what they're asking, because of how much they're asking for. I'm merging these layers. Okay, there we go. Now I can move it around. But eggs. Yeah, so, but it's just, yeah, reading about that, it's one of those kind of lightning in a bottle things. It's not going to happen again. And it's amazing it happened at all because, uh, yeah, the idea or the pitch for it didn't sound great. You know, it didn't sound like it was distinguished itself from very much for things that had been done before. And they even said that movie, the Robert De Niro movie, Analyze This, was in production. You know, while they were like after it got in production after they had done their pilot. So you know, just like that, how Hollywood always manages to everyone steals each other's ideas. That pilot was done in like '97, and the show didn't air until '99. So somebody, you know, had seen that pilot, or at least this got the script and said, hey, we could just make this a straight comedy and we could get De Niro attached. And yeah, so David Chase actually said if Analyze This had come out before Sopranos had premiered, Sopranos would just look like a joke. It would just look like Analyze This, the TV series, and no one would have given it a chance, and no one would have even thought it had the depth or the dramatic power that it did, because they would just assume, well, this is the comedy, right? Like the one that just came out. So that kind of stuff has to be so scary, because that's really out of your hands. And you know, the scumbags doing that kind of stuff. Because, you know, for a while we were getting those pairs of movies, the 2 earthquake movies, 2 volcano movies, 2 asteroids hitting the Earth movies, 2 end of the, you know, like the weather ending the world movies. And yeah, so you know that there's because production takes so long and things are kind of floating around, that people get bright ideas to make their own version. But yeah, the history of that show is really amazing. And it is also amazing that they ended it when they did, because they could have kept going, but you know, thankfully we don't have any seasons where it's just they're out of ideas and it's just really dead, and where it just gets frustrating, like a lot of other shows. I mean, that seems to be the tendency of American television, is just to run it into the ground, and even after you've lost all of your original cast, just to keep going and try to fill in the people that left. And yeah, that's crazy. Broken eggs, I don't know. Okay, well, we'll think about that and go over here. Yeah, but it's amazing rewatching that show, how fast the momentum picks up. And, you know, like right away already by season 2, you've just got stuff that, like, really classic parts of the storyline. And because it almost seems like there would have been some danger after the because I guess originally the season 1 story was conceived as a film, or not conceived as a film, but they always thought if the pilot doesn't get picked up, we can shoot a few more, you know, shoot like 30 minutes more footage, and we'll just release it as a film. So that was always an option. So the first season is just a kind of the story arc of the first season is kind of, you know, what you could have done in a film. Whoa, what's going on here? What you could have done in a film anyhow. So when you get to the end of that, and they really did a great job of figuring out, you know, what's next, where does this go, and, you know, hit on some really great stuff because of that. And maybe this way, which also doesn't always happen. Yeah, but I like the a lot of the way that they were able to do stuff, like in the I don't know if this is working, but sorry, in the conceiving it so that you're going to have these therapy sessions, and how are you going to use that as a device? Like it's a good way to show the kind of hypocrisy or the conflict that the main character, like being a father, being a mobster, kind of conflict back and forth. He's two different things all the time, and has is switching modes all the time, but then kind of what he says to his therapist and how he's justifying things, and when he at first is trying to talk around his criminal activity, how he chooses to lie, or how he chooses to, what terms he puts certain things in, works really well. And then like I heard them talk about in one of the interviews, the things like the dream analysis, or just the therapy sessions themselves, when they write something into a script, they can then, in one of the sessions, even if they haven't really figured it out themselves, one of the sessions kind of analyze what that was, what they're doing, because it just gives them the ability to kind of be what is that? Self-examine, like the writing from previous episodes, and kind of figure out. So it's one of those really odd shows that I think it's really, really rare. I don't think it's been done as well. Like some of the writers from Northern Exposure came over to The Sopranos, and so they were doing that in Northern Exposure, making a show that you could just appreciate as a quirky, Alaskan comedy, show about the kind of fish out of water, like New York Doctor in Alaska thing. But the writing was so strong and so heavily themed in each episode that watching one episode on its own, like there was a whole narrative and whole things, things changed. There was big story arcs for seasons, but each episode kind of stood on its own as a little film, or at least thematically, the A story and the B story, were kind of tied together thematically, and let the writer kind of explore different angles of the same kind of ideas. And so Sopranos does that so much. Each of the episodes is like a short film, like an hour-long film that has heavy theming, and so lots of layers, because the genre, the kind of mobster genre, already gets people in there that just want to see the that watch it for the same reason people watch westerns, the kind of the anti-hero, the idea that the self-made man, and the whole kind of American mythology that kind of gets tied up in gangster stories. This looks like toast. So they just watch it for the kills, and just watch it for the just the bravado of the characters and things like that. But the actual writing had so many great layers. So I think many people are watching that show on so many different layers, just enjoying just certain aspects of it. And I don't think anybody really watched it for all of the same things at the same time. So it could cross over into different audiences, and I think that's why it stood out so much, and why so many people like it. When that show was on the air, it was really easy to that was great water cooler talk, that was easy. There would always be fans of that show at your job, and you could always talk about it on some level, so it was just like, oh, did you see when he got killed? Did you hear, there's a lot of quotable, funny lines. I mean, it's a very funny show, but also very intense and very dramatic. And then there's just a lot of great, great metaphors and great symbolism that they did with a lot of the smaller stories and smaller images that are also fun to look at, and a lot of psychology, because of the kind of presence of the therapy sessions, a lot of interesting Freud and Jung kind of ideas in there. So yeah, just an amazingly rich show. I mean, I think they got away with selling a mob comedy and then writing a much deeper show than maybe people anticipated. You can kind of see that in the marketing. I don't think HBO had any idea how to market the show. And it's funny too, when you watch the old, like, HBO made promos for the show, they're just terrible. The 80s graphics and the kind of misunderstanding exactly what they were promoting. And because they basically had to sell to the same person that wanted to watch anything, any kind of gun movie, any kind of thing where there was going to be some, crime drama or violence or whatever. They were selling to those people, those subscribers. Wow, yeah, HBO subscribers. But at the same time, that's not what everybody watched the show for. They actually had a show with a lot more depth, which I don't think it just exists anymore. I think it's very, very funny. What am I doing with this? That what now we're calling prestige television is a weird, kind of bait and switch, where it comes in real heavy and adults with the themes and the violence, and then just lightens up into I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, it's very funny. The kind of tones, and that just a wreck here. I think I'm going to just get rid of all this. But yeah, so it's very funny how there hasn't been anything on that level since. I mean, I really enjoyed Breaking Bad, but because of the because it was on AMC, yeah, that it had to have a different tone. So when things got dark, they got kind of dramatically dark, but like as far as like showing really messed up things in that kind of drug underworld, you didn't see bodies hanging from overpasses or anything when they were dealing with the cartel. So they went a little lighter, and there were some pretty nasty kills and things. But yeah, and it also took a while because of the kind of different structure of that show. I give up on that. Because of the structure of that show, when you go back and watch, it's such a I don't know if you call it a fall, into kind of criminality or ego or whatever. But that character, starts out so milquetoast and then transforms. And so when you go back and watch, you have to start with Walter White in the public school teacher, science teacher mode, and it takes a while for it to to get to the intensity, because there's so much silly blundering and stuff. And I guess that's what got people attached to that character. But it's the later seasons that really have a lot of that intensity. But even even the pilot of Breaking Bad had great tension, and so it always had that quality. All right, what am I doing with books here? But I tell you, yeah, if you have not seen all of Sopranos, I envy you, because I wish I could go back and watch that show fresh, with fresh eyes. And it's a show that really stands, really holds up. It doesn't it's not dated. I mean, that it's very 90s in its decor and things, but they were talking about when they were making it, that this was kind of the first gangster piece that was not a period piece. So like the Godfather movies, or Goodfellas, or even Casino, were not of the time they were made. They were period pieces, kind of looking back at a certain age or a certain aspect of organized crime at a certain time. And Sopranos was contemporary to when it was made, so that's why they had the things to deal with, like the September 11th, like how they were going to handle that. And it kind of things affected the show, so they had to make reference to current events. Whereas if this would have been like Boardwalk Empire or something like that, they wouldn't have had to be so aware. of what was going on. They just, the history was already written. Yeah, that was a show I didn't make it through. I enjoyed it for the most part, but I thought it was, cast pretty well and interesting story, but somehow just fell off on Boardwalk Empire, and I never finished Deadwood. So it was another one of those, inspired by what was going on HBO. It was HBO. Were both of those HBO? I think Showtime. I think Boardwalk Empire was Showtime. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, nothing is written as well as Sopranos. That's amazing. It's, good dramas and good kind of mature themed stuff, but too much of the we got to be titillating to get the viewership, and then okay, let's just start making this a really boring story and do things that people don't even care about, which is very TV. Just kind of giving up on making good television because you've got, production schedules and things. But yeah, I don't remember, because I watched I watched 6 Feet Under for a bit, and I'm trying to think, which was pretty good. I think it was more character drama. I don't think the writing. I mean, because it was a funeral home and stuff, it had a lot of kind of existential themes, but it. I don't think nothing has that similar structure. And watched what is that, Peaky Blinders on Netflix, and that was just drama, dramatic story. And I think it's they were following his more of a historical, like, things that happened in that show had to have some historical logic, so they couldn't. So a lot of those shows, it's just the drama. It's just adult drama, and it doesn't go very far beyond that. So I've got books and eggs. Okay. So I have no idea what I am doing. Let's see here. So I'm still trying to figure out a way to talk about Sopranos on the other podcast, but there's nobody that's that into the show. So I don't know. Yeah, don't know what to do. But maybe I'll try to record something and see how it does, and if it does something, then do, episodes or whatever. Because I really wanted to as soon as the anniversary started, because it's 20 years ago. This episode came out, so every Sunday. Things were coming up for that first season. I was like, oh, that'd be great to do a podcast that just corresponded to the anniversary of each one of those episodes. But yeah, maybe I'll catch up, because the production, there were so many, just those HBO shows that were so long between seasons. Seasons were short, so they're only on for a few months, and then big breaks between seasons. So maybe it's possible to catch up. Sorry. Oh boy. I don't know about this. All right. So, books. Skew this one a little bit. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I just do not have any. I should go. I was keeping a notebook for a while with jokes, but I thought you could tell it was too obvious when I was drawing a joke that was already written. And I thought it was, when things come out of the drawing, that seems a little bit more spontaneous, a little more fun, but I don't even know anymore. Let's see, put that here. think I've done a lot of falling books. Where is it? It's up here. Jeez. All right. I don't know how I managed to do that. I like that composition, but I don't know what exactly is going on. All right, that's a bookend joke, right? I'm going to cheat and just write there somewhere a bookend was not doing his job. Try the genderless, see how that works. Somewhere a bookend was not doing their job. Okay, well, I'll think about that some more. And we're back to eggs. And I don't think we need giant eggs, do we? These can probably not be so dominant. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go with this one. Yeah, maybe if I'm gonna do egg yolk, maybe I'll want to draw that all in on color, on a color layer, so it looks more interesting and I can make it shinier and stuff. If it's black, it's gonna flatten out a bit. So let's try that. Try to find a nice farm egg color. Sorry, I'm gonna sniff into the microphone. Something like that. All right. Yeah, this is going to be tricky too. Finding a nice yellowy orange for the yolk. For the yolk, put it behind everything so I can kind of, yeah, that'll be better. I can cheat and I don't have to fill stuff in. Oh yeah, it's got to get under him a little bit, right? Yeah, that'll work. And just put this on a different layer. Maybe more yellow though. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that's a crazy difference. The Japanese egg yolks. I guess I should put this behind too. Are surprisingly orange. That was something to get used to, is how just want this to barely be coming out. How orange they were. Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, but I remembered that from the more farm eggs, not the factory eggs, but the brown farm eggs. Whoa, I didn't get that under control. Were always not that yellowy white color, and here most everything is like that. So, all right. And then put some of this in. All right. Try to get some depth to the yolk. This piece here. All right. Yeah, I think that'll work. I just have to move everything up. So everything up a bit. Yeah, that works. And then a highlight of black. Yeah, maybe I want to get this shadow, yeah, more like that. So I can get a better idea of the egg rolling right up there. Yeah, that works. Yeah, and so this joke I think is going to be a farm fresh egg joke. All right. So I'll cheat and give myself a note here. All right. That's one of those things I'm going to have to check if that's hyphenated or not. Farm fresh eggs. Okay. Ugh. So we've got eggs, and now we have books. Let's color some books. A little bit deeper red than that. Alright. And I'm just going to go all out creatively here and do blue. Miserably. Okay. I already have almost that whole joke. Okay, so let's... These guys... Maybe that... Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I guess I can always swap it. I guess I might need to do it different colors. Because of the contrast. Oh, that's pretty good. Contrast is a little bit different. There we go. Okay, so no dust jackets. But I think I will do the library labels. A little tape on the spine. Just as a detail. Actually, that can probably be a little bit brighter. Yeah, that works. There we go. All right, and then shadows on some books. Here. Well, this is quite a quiet stream. I just barely had the energy to get online. So, I'm glad at least I could do that. But apologies if you are looking for a livelier conversation. Oh, it's too close, isn't it? Wow. 12. Yep, that'll do it. Oh, probably like more like that. And the one thing I didn't do is oops, any of the edging for the pages. Oh, I think I can probably still do it like that. That looks pretty good. Something like that. Oh. Yeah. I think that's about as good as it's going to look. And then some pages here. I think everybody else is okay. Okay. And now just the shadow to kind of put them on the surface. All right. Yeah, maybe that works better. Something like that. All right, so there's books. Yeah, that's a nice. That's a recurring theme in my. Yeah, maybe sideways is better. My creative life is. I guess that's always when you're making something out of nothing, that feeling like I can't do this. I have no idea. I have nowhere to go. I have nothing, no inspiration. I can't do it this time. You know, that feeling again and again and again when you're starting something. And then once you get into it, things start to feel better. But oof, yeah, that's a rough feeling. It's like, can I do this? Can I do this? Especially when it's freelance and there's money involved and you need to perform. Sometimes it's hard if you can't just rely on some old hack kind of chops that you've always done or you can easily do when it's something a little bit outside your comfort zone. That's tough. All right, so okay, I guess we'll do some writing later, and the writing's almost done, so that'll be quick. It'll be quick and painless after we come back from this, but we will do a quick convenience store segment, so be right back. All right, welcome to the convenience store segment of the live stream, and today this is something you can pick up at any grocery store or convenience store, and in varying levels of quality. Sometimes it's just cardboard and paper, and sometimes it's very elaborate, but I found a very exciting setsubun set, right? So this is for your this is for the holiday in Japan. So the holiday setsubun is a bean throwing holiday, and its significance is closer to maybe Halloween, the Halloween tradition in the US, because look, there's a mask, and of course, like everything else, it was imported from China. So this is something you would buy for this set. So let's see what's inside. Sorry. Okay. So we open up the set, and it includes a mask, an oni mask, and a little box with some lucky beans in it. Some lucky beans, some dried soybeans. Sorry, ooh, that must have sounded terrible. Some dried soybeans. And the idea is of the holiday. So it's the day before spring, kind of the change of the season. So that more closely corresponds, I guess, with the Lunar New Year or the Chinese New Year. So it's a leftover because Japan uses January 1st, the Roman calendar, but I think Korea and China both, or I think most of Asia still uses the Lunar New Year. So this is the beginning of that time. So February 3rd every year is Setsubun, and you have your little tradition. And similar to Halloween, where kids are dressing up as monsters and going to houses and saying trick or treat, and you give them treats and they go away. Someone in the house, usually the father, puts on. Oh, am I gonna do this? Jeez. Okay, puts on. I don't think I can do it. There's no way this will last. Okay, so I'm gonna simulate it. So where's a mask? Where's the mask like this? Hey, wow, I have a big face. So puts on the oni mask and usually scares their kids to death if they're really young. And the idea is that the family throws beans usually out the front door. So you open the door to the house, and the oni is trying to come into the house, and you throw beans at the oni and tell it to go away. Right. So what's I'm totally blanking on the Japanese for that, but yeah, sorry, I'm forgetting everything. Oni wo soto, fuku wa uchi. So get out, oni, and your terrible luck as well. So it's a kind of a ritual to kind of purify or keep disease and bad things for the rest of the year out. So someone dresses as the oni, just like you would dress as Santa, and you pelt them with these with these dried beans. I thought for sure I could get that around my head, but it's for a much smaller head than mine. So you pelt them with these dried beans. So I'm not sure how well that's going to be seen, but they're just dried soybeans. So very crunchy, and tastes like soybeans. Not much flavor. And you're also on that day supposed to eat the number of beans corresponding to your age, and then +1 for good luck. So I'll eat some now because I'm going to have some more later. So you're throwing these, and so if you listen, you know, they're pretty heavy. They're pretty crispy and dry. So they make a sound like you're throwing like little stones. Similar to like throwing rice at a wedding. Dry rice. I don't think people throw cooked rice. But there's also a tradition in Kansai, the Rodomaki sushi, some sushi yasan got the clever idea to sell an uncut roll of sushi that you're supposed to eat at this season, and you're not supposed to talk or make a sound until you've eaten this whole long. I should have actually, yeah, I looked for them. They didn't have them yet. They were all cut. But you have to eat this long makizushi until we finish. You're not supposed to make a sound, again, for kind of good luck or whatever. But it's also to sell a lot more sushi. So that's a tradition, mostly just Western Japan, like the Kansai area. Not so much Tokyo has that. So he must have been a Osaka owner. Sorry, eating and chewing. But it's a pretty old tradition in Japan and pretty fun for kids, although kids don't like the scary aspect. It seems like in Asia they love to scare the heck out of their kids, because they're at the shrine. They have the kind of dragon dog puppet that the bite the babies' heads for good luck, and screaming, crying, just like freaked out kids are doing that. And then also in Nara, the Nara Koen, Nara Park is full of the deer, and you can buy the kind of osenbei, these crackers, these wheat crackers or grass crackers, I don't know what they're made of, for the to feed the deer. But the deer are just like pigeons. They're crazy aggressive, and as soon as anyone's got food, they just mob them. And so when you're a little tiny couple feet high kid and you just get mobbed by deer, it's a terrifying thing, and crying. And so I've never seen more families, since I've been in Japan, more families just like pointing and laughing at their crying kid because of the situation that the parents put them in. And it's so funny that they're crying and so afraid. It's like, if you could scale yourself down to what they're dealing with, it's terrifying. So they love to make their kids cry as humorous, for humorous effect in Japan. So here's a little box to put your beans in, make it easier to throw, so you're not pulling them out of the bag. Look at that cute little. And there's the oni. So oni in Japan maybe are closer to trolls or ogres in kind of European, but I think they translated it as demon because, you know, they've got little horns and things. It's more translated to like devil or demon, but the character of them, like they're usually carrying clubs and dressed in like see the stripe, like the tiger stripe little penchu there. But they have more of the characteristic of just, you know, bad guys doing bad things, and they're big and strong and they have clubs. And but also in a lot of kids songs and stuff, they're kind of cute. They're like more playful. But in the stories, yeah, I think they're more like ogres or trolls. They correspond more to that. But when you translate it, it's more demonic. So, and that makes sense with the bad luck and the disease if they, you know, represent that. So throwing them out. But yeah, traditionally this kind of silly look. So the big teeth and the little stubby horns and sexy eyebrows. But that is setsubun. So you can get these kits, and of course a ton of these dried luck beans everywhere during this season. And yeah, so you'll be throwing them outside. And I guess, you know, because they're not going to grow into anything, because they're just beans and they're dried and kind of destroyed. So unlike throwing some seeds and things where you probably get stuff growing, the beans are pretty harmless. But yeah, so a very old tradition, and mostly for kids. You know, it's mostly a kids thing. So people that don't have kids, they probably don't do it, or they may go to the temple or shrine to participate in the ceremony there, where the priest will do the same sort of thing, you know, kind of symbolically do that. So you're not actually doing that at your home, but yeah. So you yell at the oni, throw beans at him, and then slam the door, and he's out for the year. So it's just to bring good luck, and kind of more specifically like disease, you know, illness and things out of the house for the year. But it's cute, and it's cute to hear the kids yelling, and it's funny how upset they get when all you have to do is this, and you're not their parent anymore. You're some monster coming into their house. But yeah, setsubun. So I think I've mentioned it a few times before, but not shown you the actual what you need to do. This is it. This is your whole kit here, right? Here's mom and the kids and dad. That's the roles pretty much. And make dad leave the house and go back to the bar he lives in. But anyhow, all right. So that was February 3rd in Japan, on kind of the beginning of the Lunar New Year. I think the Chinese New Year starting not too far after that. All right, let's do some writing. Okay, back. I will stop eating into the microphone and wrinkling loud plastic bags. Oh, one more. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, so that's a very funny thing to see those little oni masks, and sometimes the cheaper ones. It's just paper, or even like they'll have a box for the beans, and you cut out the mask on the paper. That segment's over. Let's go back to the writing. All right. So somewhere a bookend was failing miserably. I think that's it. I'm so sorry that I already pre-wrote that. Yeah. So somewhere a bookend was failing miserably. So I just have falling books. Are we gonna do a? Let's see here. Maybe we'll do this just as an effect. And this layer, just see what the motion blur. Oh, I still have a selection here. Okay. Wow. It's pretty far blur. Let's see here. Just mask a little bit of this off. There we go. I don't know if it's necessary. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it adds something, and maybe I can make it look a little more fun. Actually, I want to be careful not to go too far off the... Wow. Yes, I do have an older computer. As you can see by how long it takes to go. What you doing? What's going on here? Yeah, I think that works. Oh, he's falling. And actually, let's make him frowning as well. There we go. Okay. Somewhere a bookend was failing miserably. And, okay, here we go. The brilliance of this was... oh, actually... Oh, wait a minute. I should probably put some of this. This doesn't feel right. I feel like I want to do, yeah, like this. To make him look more miserable. Let's see if there's a layer effect that'll give me what I want. Yeah, maybe more like that. Yeah, that works. That works. And sorry, fix this shadow that I just noticed has a gap in it. All right, something like that. So the idea was the biggest problem with farm fresh eggs was getting them safely from the farm. Egg jokes. The biggest problem with farm fresh eggs was getting them safely from the farm. I had that in my head. I thought a little more concise. The difficulty with farm fresh eggs was getting them safely from the farm. Was the journey from the farm. Not long. Treacherous or something would be funnier. Oh, miss. What? Wow. Treacherous. I was going to have to spell check that. The difficulty with farm fresh eggs was the treacherous journey from the farm. The difficulty with farm fresh eggs was the treacherous journey from the farm. I think that's close. Do I want to talk about casualties or the ones that didn't make it? Farm fresh. Does that look like it needs hyphenated? I'm going to have to look that up off stream. Okay, the difficulty with farm fresh eggs was the treacherous journey from the farm. I think that works the best because I don't want to get too much about remembering. And somewhere a bookend was failing miserably. All right. Wow, I think we did it. That is it for this week. So how did we do time-wise? Pretty good. Okay. Thank you for joining me. And before I see you next time, happy Setsubun. I will be back next Sunday night or Monday if you live in Asia. And I will talk to you soon. Appreciate you watching. And if you would like to follow this cartoon on Twitter at AbuseCartoons, and if you would like to do more and become a patron, patreon.com/AbuseCartoons. There's original art, signed books, and access to everything basically for helping out the live stream and helping keeping the cartoon going. So thank you very much to the existing patrons, and please take a look and feel free to join if you have the ability. Becoming a patron means a lot to me to kind of keeping things going, and I'm very grateful for everyone that's donating. So until next time, I will, and of course the cartoon's available at gocomics.com and abusecartoons.com is the website. I will see you next month. It will be February, so see you next time. Goodbye.